Hello, champions. It's AOC. Get comfy and spend the next hour being thoroughly entertained. This is The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve. If you like podcasts that make you laugh, provoke thought, and sometimes even make you horny, you're going to love these boys. The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve. Come for knowledge. Come for the pleasure. Stay because you're tied up.
Come for Nick and Steve, dude. That's what I would say. And the Vocal Minority. Welcome to the program, y'all.
I'd like to come for AOC. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, dude. Well, we've discussed that before. I think we made our point. We love AOC.
I get turned on by intellectualism, is my point. And proud progressive women.
Duh.
And men. And boy, I don't.
No, you don't have to do that. No, you don't have to say that. You're not gay.
Right.
Welcome to the podcast, The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve. Joining us is Steve Harness and Nick Reynolds.
Hey, it's us. What do you know? It used to be a radio show. Now it's a podcast because we're adapting with the times, unlike the radio industry, might I point out. So.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point to make. We're glad to be on these pod waves. Can we call them that instead of airwaves?
We can. I don't know if it makes sense or is accurate. You call it whatever you want. I'm sick of people saying, why do you two have a podcast? Like, because we're broadcasters, and that's where podcasting comes from, the word broadcasting. We were the originators, God damn it.
Yeah, and it's kind of stupid, too, because, like, I don't know, you go have a podcast. I mean, all you got to do is do it. That's the great thing about it. Anyone can do it, whether it's good or not. Now, that'll be a different story.
Ah, that is the key. Anyone can hit record, I think. But, yeah, we have some skills going on here. So find us on the interweb. We have a website. It's thevocalminority.net. And the social medias, the fun, the politics, the news, the entertainment, the pop culture. It's there.
Yeah, it's all there, dude. Another successful week over on the Reddit platform, dude. Thank you for all the views. Thank you for everything you're doing to support this program. We appreciate it.
Yeah, Reddit's a great one for us. Thousands and thousands of views and likes and comments going on over there. TikTok, still doing well. YouTube's there. And then all the others, Facebook, X, Twitter, Instagram, blah, 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 blah. Threads, I think.
Yeah. Hey, dude, we had some bitch. Oh, I shouldn't say that because I don't call women that. But my point, let me say jackass, okay? Just because I felt like she was. I want to complain about your show. Like, does your boss know you're doing this? Remember that lady?
Yes. It's funny because, I've been the boss at the radio station for years and years and years now. I found it hilarious for years where I'm like, yeah, go ahead and complain. See how far that gets you. But yeah, someone on Reddit was like, does your boss know how you're talking to us on here? And I'm going to complain to your boss.
You gave her the phone number. I didn't never get a phone call. So she couldn't have been that mad.
Well, it was funny. My initial reply was, hold on, let me talk to him. And then I put the emoji for the mirror up. And right. I said, he's okay with it. And that was clever. But, yeah, Nick, you then pointed out, like, you should have given her the phone number. So I went on there and I pretended I was like, my sincere apologies. We hired a firm to do our social media. They've clearly gone off the rails. This is unacceptable. We're going to file a lawsuit, but I need your testimony. So please call 844-48-VOCAL and file a complaint.
Yeah,
let us know where
and she did not.
Yeah, no.
I was hoping that she would have, but yeah, it would have been kind of fun.
Well, this is the typical keyboard warrior out there, hiding behind your little screen, tippy-tapping away there on your keyboard. You're brave and noble. But yeah, put your face to something. Create some content. Put your voice so we can actually play you on the show, and everyone shies away.
Everyone. Well, I mean, 90% of people shy away, but we've only had a few people step up and actually, I'll put my voice out there. So yeah, I mean, it's nil. Speak up, damn it.
Right. I've noticed a recurring theme amongst threatened Trump men out there. They like to call us betas. Oh, you guys are betas. And my reply to every single one of them is alphas do, betas hide behind keyboards. So go ahead and put up or shut up.
So funny, dude. I mean, I guess, like, you don't even know me, first of all, but it doesn't offend me when you call me a beta. Like, yeah, I can be led, or I can step up and lead. I can be the alpha, but like, it just, again, it's the projection of small penis syndrome, of people say that would ever say, like, be nice beta. you've got big problems, dude.
I don't find it offensive. I just find it ironic that you're trying to accuse us of being, some passive man or something when you're the one hiding behind your keyboard. We're the ones that have put our names on a freaking show and our faces on the interweb and our opinions and thoughts. So don't try to beta us.
Hey, dude, I had this thought, okay? There's this guy, I watch some of his contents on TikTok sometimes, and he posted a video yesterday, and it was basically saying this: If the Democrats should lose, if Harris and Walz lose, okay, not what we want to have, obviously, but if it happens, do not talk about your gay friends. Do not talk about you have transgender friends. Do not, wipe off all the stuff you've done on Facebook where you're like, F Trump, blah, 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 because what happened in Germany, dude. These people, he already said the enemy within. Maybe he'll be coming after you based on what people find online, right? Yeah. And I told Rachel, I was like, I can't delete. I have hundreds of hours of me talking about this asshat, and people have downloaded it.
Oh, yeah. No, there's no erasing what we've done. And quite frankly, I don't want to. I mean, it would be a badge of honor for us if he puts us on this blacklist with, Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, Saturday Night Live, whatever it is. Because that is the only thing not making me vomit right now. We are a week away from Election Day. And yes, obviously, I want Team Blue to win. Obviously, I want democracy to be salvaged. But, if for some weird reason Trump does win, we've got several years of good material and fighting the man and holding him accountable. And that may almost become what the show is, just the weekly Trump accountability rundown.
Yeah, I think that they're more talking about imprisoning, people who have spoken out against him. So if he comes out, I don't necessarily want to be imprisoned. You know what I mean?
Listen, as soon as Jimmy Kimmel is locked up, then you and I can move to Canada. Otherwise, they're not coming after us first. So we'll be okay.
I'm going to Germany, dude.
I will point out, though, there's been a lot of talk from Trump about censoring the media, taking away FCC licenses of news networks, and imprisoning comedians for illegal campaign contributions to the Democrats. And
yeah,
I just love how conservatives are such a fan of the Constitution, but it seems to be limited to one single amendment. Second Amendment's their thing. They seem to disregard the First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, all that stuff. So I am sick of people claiming to be constitutional purists, yet not condoning Trump for calling out, trying to go after the media and comedians and whatnot.
It's all hypocrisy. Like we've talked about often, the red party has become all hypocrisy.
Right.
Lots going on out there. Shall we jump into a little newsy news?
Let's do that.
This is Need to Know News. News you need to know.
Hello, Americans. This is Paul Harvey. Stand by for news.
Hi, Stephen. This is Clem Fandango. Can you hear me?
Yep, I got you, Clem. You there?
Yeah, he's here, dude.
Okay, good. Okay, so where to start? Our first news story. Comedian Tony Hinchcliffe performs wildly racist set at Trump rally in New York City. Everyone's talking about it. It's a buzz, so I figure we should start off with our thoughts on it. So do we have some of the jokes? Should we just play some of them first and then go from there? What are you thinking?
Yeah, we can do that. I've got a couple of clips. We'll start out what most people have heard because this is what has been on media the most. So let's start with this first clip of Tony Hinchcliffe at the MSG rally last night with Trump.
Welcome migrants to the United States of America with open arms. And by open arms, I mean like this.
He's waving them back.
It's wild. And these Latinos, they love making babies, too. Just know that. They do. There's no pulling out. They don't do that. They come inside, just like they did to our country. Where are my proud Latinos at tonight? You guys see what I mean? It's wide open. There's so many of them. I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Republicans are the party with a good sense of humor.
Wow, dude.
Interesting. First of all, I didn't know Tony was MAGA. I don't know a lot of gay guys that are MAGA. That's, I guess, very progressive of him to be an openly gay man. He's gay, right?
Yeah, he's gay. There's theories that float around because I don't know. Most of his talk about Donald Trump in the past, if I've ever watched him on Kill Tony, has been somewhat sarcastic, which is, I mean, that's the dick move too, because like, if you're going to be it, you know, don't. So, but there are people that I have been seeing on message boards and stuff like that saying like, oh, he was a Trojan horse. He came in to ruin this. Like he knew what he was doing. Like give the guy a break. And I'm like, I don't know that to be true, dude.
I have seen that theory. And first of all, is he really gay? I was making that up. Is he gay?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to, go into stereotypes, but he sounds a little lispy, effeminate dude. I thought he was one of those like beta males that was trying to pretend like they're a proud, strong Trumper, but
he likes penis. And, that was one of my first thoughts as I was like, how dare you, dude? Thinking about the gay people I know in my life, I was just like, how dare you? Like, how could you do that, dude? How could you vote against the interest of human rights?
Yeah, I did just see something over the weekend about, gay Republicans for Trump. And I just thought, like, what an oxymoron. Talk about voting against your own self-interest, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, it is a good question. Is Tony actually a MAGA, or is he just trolling them? Because it would make a lot more sense if he was trolling them. Either way, I have historically defended comedians' rights to make whatever the frick jokes they want. And Tony is pretty well known for being kind of a roaster, right? I mean, he's pretty brutal.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, I'm almost positive that he's got the largest, following for podcasts. I think he's got the biggest podcast in the world.
That's interesting. I mean, I know Shane Gillis hangs out with him a lot and Joe Rogan, and those guys seem to tilt a little MAGA. So I guess it makes sense. But, I defend comedians' rights to say what they want to say. And the Trump campaign, not Trump himself, says that this joke does not reflect the views of President Trump or the campaign. Here's the problem with that statement. It literally does reflect your views when you put the man up at your rally and have him speak. Whether he's trolling you or not, he's brutal. You knew he was going to make racist jokes. Well, what his intentions are with those are a side point. The fact is, he is representing you. He's at the MAGA rally. So I find it very disingenuous that they're trying to distance themselves. And poor Tony, by the way, this is the first thing the Trump campaign has ever distanced themselves from.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty big thing. I did also see the Trump people are saying, oh, we're sorry, we didn't vet him. Like that doesn't make it better. Like that's silly. And you know what? Here's the thing, dude. I agree with you. On this program, we talk a lot about comedians and free speech and what they should be able to joke about. And there's no joke over the limit is what we usually say, Right. But I don't think this was a comedy set, dude. He was at a MAGA rally. This was a political speech. Like, it's not like, you go to rallies and call comedians out to warm the crowd up. You know what I mean? Like, he was at a political rally. So I don't think these come off in the same fashion that if he was doing a stand-up set somewhere.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, his jokes, quote unquote, did echo all of the traditional racist talking points about, the others taking over the country. And he made Jewish jokes. He made Latino jokes, eating animal jokes, Puerto Rico.
Listen to this second clip, dude, and listen to this joke.
Heck yeah, it's a cool black guy with a thing on his head. What the hell is that, a lampshade? Look at this guy. Oh my goodness. I'm just kidding. That's one of my buddies. He had a Halloween party last night. We had fun. We carved watermelons together. It was awesome.
Ouch.
Yeah.
I mean, again, though, this is every stand-up I've seen from this guy, and probably the most famous was the Tom Brady roast. And, he was vicious and brutal. So whoever thought he was a good idea to speak, if they didn't vet him, then they just had no idea. They just wanted any comedian that had a following to get up there. And by the way, comedians, I have worked with and known a lot of comedians over the years of radio, and that is one of the number one things clubs will tell them to do or not to do. Number one is either work clean or don't, like swear or don't swear, and either be political or don't be political. So those are the first two things anyone should have asked him. Like, are you going to swear and are you going to be like overly political?
Yeah, I doubt that they asked him that. But even if they did, he's notorious for on the Tom Brady roast. They gave him a list of things not to talk about, and whether it's for views or because he won't be silenced, he chose to talk about them. Yeah. And he's kind of, like you said, I mean, he's kind of known for that. So I don't think even if they had said, like, keep it clean, that he would have.
Right. This reminds me of Siegfried and Roy. My sympathies were limited when you bring wild animals up on stage and then one of them mauls you. Like, that's sort of your fault. It's not the tiger's fault, you know?
Oh, 100%, dude. There are other comics that are starting to come out against him, you know. More than ever, we need Will Smith to slap another comedian. You know, like some of the people in his community are starting to come out. Michael Ian Black, you know who that is. I think America just found its next Jim Brewer, which is, I mean, that's a dig, right? Because,
yeah.
So yeah, it's so funny to me, that they ever thought this would be a good idea. But you know how Trump, like a couple of weeks ago, like played music for 40 minutes and just like danced? Like maybe these are starting to be variety shows. Like we'll have a comedian here, we'll play music here. Right. Yeah, he's getting tired. I know that.
The other part that makes it hard for the Trump world to distance themselves is he was not a standalone that night. I mean, he may have been the only actual comedian, but everyone had rhetoric along these same sorts of lines. So whatever his jokes, if you want to say they were funny or not funny, they fit right in with the overarching theme of the night. There was racist, bigotry, misogyny, all of that, you know, circulating through the entire thing, including Trump himself. So, you know, I don't know that the comedian deserves to be singled out amongst all of the, praising of Nazis or all of the abortion access being denied, women literally dying in parking lots. But yeah, the world seems to be unifying around eviscerating Kill Tony, which is ironic that that's the name of his podcast, because that's what the world wants to do to him right now.
Like a little foresight. It's funny that Bad Bunny came out immediately after the Puerto Rico comment or, you know, joke, I say in air quotes, was made and endorsed Kamala Harris. He's got, I think 45. I think he's got 45. Yeah, he's got 45.6 million followers. I don't know if it means much to you, but Ricky Martin and J-Lo came out immediately after. I mean, these are people with a ton of followers, and they're talking about the Puerto Ricans having a lot of undecideds, and like 400,000 in Pennsylvania alone?
Yes. The joke may end up being on the MAGA world, because I believe Biden won Pennsylvania by about 12,000 votes. And yeah, you're right. There's 400,000 Puerto Ricans. So if roughly 5% of them just changed their votes, you could have just shot yourself in the foot epically here. And you would deserve it, by the way. Because again, I'm giving Tony a little slack, but I'm not giving anyone else slack for including him in the event and for, you know, not setting up any guidelines and for having it not be such a standout amongst all the other racist, terrible things that are said at any given Trump rally. And by the way, like the Trump campaign tried to distance themselves, saying it's not reflective of us. But now I just got a news alert about J.D. Vance commenting on it. And he says, you know, we all have to stop getting so offended.
Dude, are you kidding me? I mean, we're talking about racism at its core. You know, if you're saying that Tony made a joke and he's doing a stand-up routine, the way, first of all, those people, when I heard them, weren't laughing as much as they were like cheering. You know what I mean? And I think there's a difference in it. Like, oh man, that's funny because it's so bad. If you're cheering for that, like you're cheering for racism. You know who Sid Rosenberg is?
No, I do not.
So he's a radio host. I mean, they had a plethora of people come out last night, from Giuliani to Elon Musk to what's that Nazi's name?
Adolf.
No, I'm talking current day. Stephen Smith.
Stephen Miller?
Stephen Miller, yeah. Stephen Miller came out, and then Sid Rosenberg came out. He's a radio host, okay? Listen to the comments he made at this rally last night.
I just got back from Israel about 2 weeks ago. They love Trump in Israel, just so you know, they love him. They love him and Bibi, they love them both. I'm in Israel and had the opportunity to break the Yom Kippur fast with Bibi Netanyahu. What an amazing night that was. I get back and they go, Sid, you want to speak at this MSG thing? I go, sure. for me to speak at a Nazi rally. I was just in Israel, but I took the gig.
I mean, they are saying the quiet parts out loud, right? Like, for me to be able to speak at a Nazi rally, like, yeah, I took the gig.
Right. I mean, at least Tony structured his hatred as jokes. He put a little effort into a setup, a punchline, so. But yeah, no, I mean, you lay with dogs, you get fleas. I have no sympathy for Trump world that they're on the defense. Although, like I just pointed out, like they seem to be having contradictory messages. The Trump campaign, which I guarantee was not Trump himself, it was in fact the Trump campaign manager, Daniel Alvarez, who put out the statement saying that the joke about Puerto Rico does not reflect the views of President Trump. But then we have J.D. Vance saying that we all shouldn't be so offended, as a comedian. And I guarantee you Trump's going to come out and double down on this and defend Tony, because Trump will never admit any fault. I find it odd that they even put out a little bit of a take-back statement there, but Trump won't do it himself.
Yeah, I don't even know, to be honest with you, if Trump is aware that they did it. That he may be pissed off that they did it. If J.D. Vance is saying that, I mean, they're never on the same page,
Right.
know?
Oh, yeah. No, for sure.
So it'll be interesting to see for sure. But yeah, while we're on the topics of podcasts, did you listen to any of the Joe Rogan podcasts with Trump?
No, I mean, I've seen some clips, but I try to flip right through them. I'm so annoyed that Rogan had him on. I mean, Joe Rogan has been saying for years that he is not going to help Trump out by having him on the show. And then a week before the election, he has him on for a 3-hour chit chat. So, I mean, I'm glad Rogan kind of busted him a little bit on give me examples of election fraud and Trump could not. But I don't appreciate the 3-hour jerk off of airtime that he gave him.
I think you're being generous, dude. I was so disappointed in Joe Rogan. And look, I have respect for what Joe Rogan has done with his podcast, and some of his conversations I find great. Some of them I tune right out because it's oftentimes misogynistic, or it's just not my jam. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's the beta in me, Steve. Yeah. But I will tell you that I have become increasingly upset with Rogan and him not. When he gets something wrong, he doesn't come back and be like, look, I got this wrong, and make a correction. It's just kind of like he kind of moves on from it. He's taking no accountability. And there were several times during this interview where Trump, they were bold-faced lies, dude. And Rogan had said, like, I couldn't challenge him on it. Yes, you could, dude. It's your podcast. What are you talking about?
This is the problem with somebody who doesn't think they're actually a broadcaster. I think Rogan just thinks he's a dude, comedian, fight fan. I got this podcast and I'm just being me. But you do have a certain level of responsibility when you have 100 million downloads every month. And when you're going to have a presidential candidate on a week before the election, of course you should be fact checking. Like I said, he pushed back slightly on some topics, but not forcefully. And he could have grilled Trump. I mean, I would have had some actual respect for the guy if he'd brought him on and held his feet to the fire. And no, he didn't. So it does suck. I just don't think it converted anyone. That's the thing I'm holding on.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was looking through comments on the videos that I was watching, and they were a mixed bag of, a MAGA crowd. And he's awesome. Trump is awesome. To your point, Joe Rogan kept saying, like, I didn't want to interview him. I wanted to have a conversation with him, and that does kind of take the accountability out of it. He has said he'll have Kamala Harris on if she wants to come on and give her equal time, and but then he joked about it for 20 minutes, like she wouldn't know what to say. Like, I don't think she could even come on here and talk at all. Like,
no, I mean, it would not be a fair interview because he actually probably would go off on her and really would try to fact check and bust her. So, he's being disingenuous with his politics.
Yeah, it's funny, dude. We're just never going to win. I'm with these people, fighting these people. So I don't know why I expect to. It's been giving me increasing anxiety over the last few days. I know my wife has a lot of anxiety, and it looks like that America does. I guess we just have to see. What do we have? Recording day, I think 9 days now.
No, it'll be from today. It's 8 days. This will come out on Tuesday, so that's 1 week until Election Day. And I do find it funny that Trump decided to hold a rally in New York City. A state and a city that loathes him, has never accepted him as one of their own, will staunchly vote against him, and this may be a campaign event that could actually do some real damage to him. This Puerto Rican thing, it doesn't matter if it's a joke or not. It pissed them off. And like you pointed out, in Pennsylvania alone, that could sway the entire election. So you reap what you sow. We'll see what happens.
With everything backing it up, though, Stephen, him talking about getting rid of Puerto Rico, trading it for Greenland, he threw the paper towels. He called Haiti a shithole country. Like, we know that this is how he feels. So hopefully people will not let it fool them at all.
Well, that's why it's hard to distance himself. These are jokes based on his rhetoric. And, Puerto Ricans, they're Americans. People keep forgetting that. But, So, we'll see what happens. And as far as the anxiety we're all feeling, I get it. I would encourage everyone to stop listening to polls right now. Voting has already begun. The ball is in motion. So don't get complacent. Still knock on doors, still post on social media. We got to keep the fire churning through Election Day, but stop paying attention to polls and predictions and everything else. It is going to be a close election. It will be a nail biter. Doesn't mean we can't win. Doesn't mean it couldn't still be an electoral landslide. All you have to do is win each state by one vote, and it's your column. Like, we could still blow this thing out. But everyone try to take a deep breath and just stay the course.
Stay the course. I think that's the best advice that I've heard all day.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you this. We interrupt our program to bring you a special.
Here is a news bulletin. We interrupt this program to bring you
the humanity and all the things. A date which will live in infamy. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Need to know news.
I said, oh, Lord Jesus, it's a fire.
News you need to know.
I got bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Don't got time for that. We got an election coming up, for crying out loud. I don't want to, you just kind of gave everyone a bottle and relaxed them a lot. And now I'm going to put the anxiety back in you. I don't have a choice. Just something to think about. Okay.
I have some more anxiety-inducing stuff coming. Don't worry. I'm just trying to, balance things out.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard what is going on over in my neck of the woods, but authorities in Oregon and Washington State are investigating an incident in which hundreds of ballot boxes were set on fire in Portland and Vancouver early this morning. This is pretty crazy, dude. In Vancouver, police did confirm that a fire erupted inside a ballot box, destroying several ballots or boxes rather, and they were showing images of smoky ballots out on the street. I mean, it ruined ballots.
Yeah. And Nick, by the way, is talking about Vancouver, Washington, not Canada. But, and this just happened in Maricopa County down in Arizona, which is a Democratic district. And it's disturbing. We've already had some voter fraud instances happen, and they all seem to be getting perpetrated, as usual, by Republicans and MAGA. They project constantly. They're always accusing us of all this crap, but they're the ones currently doing it. I want to tell people it's okay to vote by mail, but boy, this election, I would keep my ballot in my hand until you slide it in that box at the booth.
You know what? Rachel and I drop them usually in the box, and looking into it further, like, you can walk in and just hand it to someone at the post office too,
right.
Well,
and the post box should be safe, but not if idiots are going to go around setting them on fire. Because I don't think there's any undoing that.
All that they can do is that, they've put a statement out, that said, like, hey, if you voted on this date, you can get another ballot for yourself to send in. But that's going to cause concern. I can hear the Republicans already being like, oh, so now they have possibly 2 ballots. How do you know theirs was burnt? Well, they're going to get rid of them all. Here's the thing that you can do to try and completely know that your vote has been counted. You can go online and check, dude. You can go online and see if your ballot has been taken and registered. And if it hasn't, then figure out what you need to do. You may be able to get another ballot because these were caught in a fire.
Well, it's a pretty standard practice, though, to do absentee ballots. For example, if you show up to your polling place on Election Day and they say your name's not on the list, they'll ask you to fill out an absentee ballot. We're going to set it aside. It's not going to get counted today, but in the wake of the election, we're going to sort this out. If your name was supposed to be on the poll or if you didn't vote by some other means, this absentee will then be counted as your actual ballot. So I guess I would tell anyone, if you were in that town, if you mailed it within that window, I would contact all the local election officials because every state is different. But probably show up on Election Day, explain what happened, and ask if you can do an absentee ballot. They will not count it twice, okay? I'm sick of hearing that crap. They do check into this stuff.
Yes, completely. It is. I'll read an article to you in a second here about how secure our voting is. But let me first tell you, to add to this problem, that Russia has now manufactured and spread a fake video that purports to show someone destroying ballots marked for former President Donald Trump in Pennsylvania. Yep. This video has circulated, and we've got so many things to deal with here that we've never had to deal with before.
And this video has been completely debunked. It's absolutely fake, and I did see it making the rounds, but fake. Russian propaganda. You're falling for it, people. Just take everything with a grain of salt right now and just stay the fucking course.
Yes. And as you and I have talked about before, it's great that we found out that this is Russian propaganda. And again, they're trying to influence our elections. But the info's already out there, dude. A very small percentage of it is going to be like, oh, that was a fake video. Like, there's so many more people that are going to see it and think it was real.
Yeah, the gullible MAGA types. But as I point out in some of these online arguments, like, look, they found ballots that, were for some dead person. Like, how do you think they found it? As if there's maybe a system in place to check for these sorts of things. The system works. Anytime you see a story where somebody wasn't on the polls or voted for the dead grandma, like, you only know about it because the system caught it. So there is a system in place.
Yes, there is a system in place. And you can go read about this, that actually voting in the U.S., this election cycle, is safer than it's ever been in the history of voting.
Yeah.
You know what? We've seen the problems. We have seen what can happen. They're more secure now than ever. It is a bunch of loaded bullshit that we have issues with mail-in ballots and other areas. If there's any issues at all, it's how the MAGA party has tried to confront the election process and how they're doing illegal shit to try and change the outcome of the election.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Trump's own FBI director said the 2020 election was the safest and most secure in history, and I guarantee you it hasn't gotten less secure in the last 4 years. Like you said, they're aware of some of these shenanigans. They're being extra diligent on all of this stuff, and everything is going to have its day in court, and some of this is going to end up in court. So this is our system, people. There has never been voter fraud on a scale that would sway an election. And like I mentioned with the absentee ballot, if it comes down to your district is, that close of a razor margin, they will look at all of that stuff. If it's not, then they may wait weeks or months and let you know if your vote counted, but it wouldn't really matter at that point.
No, it wouldn't. Listen, dude, this is this is the statistic. 95% of all voters will be voting on paper in 2024. So this should alleviate all those questions of, the Dominion thing, which was never proven, and people paid a lot of money to, say they're sorry for that. But yeah, that's a big deal. 95% on paper. So now what are you going to say?
Yeah. Well, as always, facts don't matter for the MAGA crew. And I do want everyone to be prepared that there will be some chaos after this election. They're going to make every accusation they can. They're already laying the groundwork. Trump and everyone is. So they're going to kick and whine and scream. And we just need to let the process sort itself out and rely on the courts and the guardrails and election officials and the corrupt ones, some of these MAGA officials that have been appointed. We have to put the spotlight of the world on them.
100%. Have you seen the clip of Trump talking at Madison Square Garden about the little secret? The little secret that's good for them he'll let everybody know after the election's over?
No. What? Great.
So he's talking about, from what everyone from what everyone can gather, he's talking about the Speaker of the House and him having a little secret. And you'll notice in his clip that he said in Madison Square Garden, he didn't say, I'll tell you the little secret after we've won the election. He says, I'll tell you the little secret when the election's over, because he's talking about trying to, what's the Speaker of the House's name? Mike
Johnson.
Mike Johnson. He's trying to get together with him, and Mike Johnson has committed to not certifying the election. So if they're already saying that's going to happen, so this is going to be a very, very bumpy ride with lots of crazy shit.
Yeah, I did read an article about that. The constitutional scholar that they interviewed for this article basically said that Mike Johnson may want to not certify it. He may bluster and say that, but there's no wiggle room in the Constitution for him to actually do that. It's the reason Mike Pence refused to try to not certify it. Like, the Constitution doesn't allow this. I'm not going to put myself out on some ledge and just pretend I have this authority. So when it comes down to it, those are where the guardrails, I think, will tell Mike Johnson, like, you don't even get to say that. You don't have any power to do that.
See, the article that I read was talking about, if we don't win the House, he'll be able to do this. And then it goes to a state for state vote. Did you know that?
Well, I mean, every state's got their electors that they send in for the certifying of the vote. Is that what it's referencing?
No, it's referencing, if he doesn't take the election and certify it, then it goes back to the states. And instead of, all of us voting, each state will vote. And there's more red states than blue states, not more red people than blue people, but there's more red states than blue states. And you get one vote per state if he doesn't certify it. They throw it back to the states. And that would be a win for the red states.
Boy, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I guess I haven't read deep enough on it, but that would be a 1 in a zillion catastrophic scenario. It's way more likely this ends up in the Supreme Court and they hand Trump the victory. I don't see it going back to each state and we each get one vote. I mean, woof.
Yeah.
Undermining democracy. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, like I say, people, this is why we got to show up and try to make this a landslide so that we don't even have to worry about any of this stuff. But it's going to likely come down to one state or something like it has in multiple other elections. So we just got to be prepared.
Yeah, we got to keep talking to people, like you said, and really, I mean, take the effort. What does Kamala say? Like, your vote is your voice and your voice is your power. Like, go do it, dude. This is the one day that you get to decide what our country looks like for the next 4 years and maybe beyond with this election.
And I have faith in the media, by the way. I think they're being very easy on Trump right now and very complacent in all of this. But if it were to come down to something like this, where some constitutional crisis erupts, there will be a gigantic spotlight on it. Everyone will be chiming in on this, from state officials to lawyers and judges. I mean, it'll be really hard to pull some sort of shenanigans at that point.
And they say, Kamala was talking about, or Kamala. Why I just did that because it's all I hear from these frickin' idiots.
I was going to say, do I point out that you just said?
Yes, please do, because now every time I say her name, I have to stop and think about it because I'm hearing it over and over pronounced wrong.
Yes. So it's hard because it is happening over and over. My poor mother keeps calling her Kamala or whatever. And I'm like, Mom, you sound like a MAGA. You've got to say it right, because this has become some sort of dog whistle to intentionally mispronounce her name.
Yes, 100%. And I do apologize for it. I hate that I just did that, but I hear it all the time. But Kamala said that she has things in place. I mean, they've been thinking ahead of this game and where it could possibly go. So there is things set in place. We're not going to be in the dark like we were last time.
Yeah. So here's the big difference. One of my articles I got coming, I'll just throw it out right now. So Michael Cohen, Trump's former lawyer and fixer and all that, made the prediction that on election night, before all the mail-in ballots come in and get counted, because those always favor Democrats, because this is a common talking point, right? Like, when we all went to a bed on election night 2020, Trump was ahead. We wake up and suddenly, Biden was ahead. It's because we know that the mail-in ballots come in late and they're heavily Democratic. So Cohen was saying, I guarantee you on election night, Trump will declare victory before the mail-in ballots can happen. And he will just put it out there that he's won, the election's over, he's going to, claim victory. But as Cohen then goes on to point out, the key difference between now and 4 years ago is Trump is not the president right now. He's not in control of anything right now. Biden is. So Trump's not allowed to just declare things and force things forward or send the National Guard to Congress and, any of that stuff. Biden is in control.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good point to think about. And I hadn't even thought about that. I mean, he'll still come out and say it. He'll still come out and he'll post it on X and millions of people will see it. But yes, he can't just take to the streets and walk into the White House and say, out of here, old man.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I don't think another January 6th can happen. Because again, Biden will be the one sitting in the White House that day. He's not going to eat Cheetos and watch it on TV for hours while not ordering any police or National Guard or anything. So I know that's a small little sliver of hope for all of us, but the Democrats are in control right now. Nothing changes on Election Day. It's not till January 20th, okay? So we're still in charge.
Yes. We've got a little time, but that doesn't mean complacent. That doesn't mean we stop thinking about it. We prepare for any scenario.
This is the only news you need to know. After all, this is Need to Know News. News you need to know. Enough said.
It isn't enough said, dude. Hey, this is something we need to discuss. Tucker Carlson, he went and talked to the people over at Madison Square Garden, too.
Yes, and he did some quote-unquote racist humor, too. But again, he's not a joke writer, so it was just blatantly stupid and racist.
Completely. He was trying to – he misraced Kamala a couple of times. I can't remember what he said. She's Malaysian and Pacific Islander or something like that.
He was just inserting generic foreign countries. I don't know what she is, Somalian, Samoan, whatever. No. And it's Indian and Jamaican, for the record. So.
Yes, 100%. Tucker Carlson had quite the week, dude. He also spoke at another rally, and I don't know if you've heard this. This has been going around, but this is a fascinating clip that the MAGA people ate up.
If you allow your 2-year-old to smear the contents of his diapers on the wall of your living room, and you do nothing about it, if you allow your 14-year-old to light a joint at the breakfast table, if you allow your hormone-addled 15-year-old daughter to slam the door of her bedroom and give you the finger, you're going to get more of it. And those kids are going to wind up in rehab. It's not good for you, and it's not good for them. No. There has to be a point at which dad comes home. Yeah, that's right. Dad comes home. And he's pissed. Dad is pissed. He's not vengeful. He loves his children. Disobedient as they may be, he loves them. But he's very disappointed in their behavior. And he's going to have to let them know. Get to your room right now and think about what you did. And when dad gets home, you know what he says? You've been a bad girl. You've been a bad little girl, and you're getting a vigorous spanking right now. And no, it's not going to hurt me more than it hurts you. No, it's not. I'm not going to lie. This is going to hurt you a lot more than it hurts me. And you earned this. You're getting a vigorous spanking because you've been a bad girl.
Wow.
And it has to be this way.
I don't know that it has to be that way, but I mean,
is he jerking off while he said all that?
I mean, doesn't it sound like it? And he does look excited up there, just like, you've been a bad girl. Somebody I was listening to on MSNBC was like, he didn't have to say bad girl or bad boy. Like, you've been a bad kid is what he should have said, but it was just over sexualized. Obviously, he's trying to turn President Trump into dad. Like, sometimes dad has to come home and spank these people that have been bad. And the crowd was going nuts, dude. I mean, he is completely crazy.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, how insulting to moms out there that as if you're the problem or you can't lay down the law or be an authoritarian in the house or whatever. But secondly, I love that he started off that list with a 2-year-old smearing feces on the wall of your house. I seem to recall some Trump supporters smearing feces around our Capitol building, you know?
Whose kids are smearing poop? I mean, I'm not a father, but did your kids ever smear poop all over the room?
Well, no, but no. I mean, I suppose I've heard of things like that, but no. But also just the irony there that Trump, the dad in this little story, he's the one that has brought the temperature way up and the immaturity level way up and is swearing and being demeaning and sexist and racist, misogynistic. Like, he's the drunk dad that's going to show up and, add to the racist jokes and humor and encourage the kids to break curfews and stick it to the man and all that stuff. Like, Trump is not the dad that would be laying down any sort of authority in the house, nor was he ever a dad in his life. I know he's got kids, but do you think he was a dad, sat down at the dinner table with them and had talks and made sure they were doing their homework? And please.
He said as much, dude. I mean, he said as much publicly. Like, yeah, it's not really my thing. They're great kids, but hey, like, of course he's not a dad. And it is funny because, what is he, the screw mom? Like, you can't take care of it. Like, I know that most of the moms in this country are raising children just like the dads are.
Yeah, well, of course. And then it does come from the family, I mean, anytime I see a shitty little kid out there, I'm just like, you've got terrible parents. It's completely obvious.
Yeah.
But, Tucker's just milking the mega gullibles out there to pad his payroll. Not that he needs it. He is from a family of wealth.
Yeah, completely. But it is funny that you bring up the fact that hopefully his parents are disappointed in him. I hate Jesse Waters. I mean, he's one of my most hated people in the world. I found out this past week that his mom is a Democrat and that it has killed their relationship. Because he spews so much propaganda. I was like, good for you, dude.
Yeah. Usually the mom is the voice of reason, actually, in the family. So, and so many kids push back and rebel against parents. So I guess it's not shocking that he would, come out like that. But I was just telling someone today on Reddit in one of my many back and forths that, he was saying that he's proudly voting, straight ticket, all red. He's, diehard MAGA Republican. And
yeah.
I told him, you're on the wrong side of history. And someday your grandchildren will be learning about this in school. And it's going to be the equivalent of nowadays when we realize our ancestors owned slaves and we all feel embarrassed and mortified by that fact. When generations from now realize that you were a MAGA Trump supporter and you voted for that man, future generations will feel that same level of shame that their ancestors were MAGA. How disgusting.
That is crazy to think about, dude. I've spent so much time over these last 6 months, and most Democrats have, of just being gaslit, like that, oh, you guys are the bad ones. You guys are the fascists. You're the Marxists. And it's enough already. But yes, you can look in the mirror and say that you will be on the wrong side of history. It is not only a promise, but it's a guarantee.
It seems so obvious to at least half the country that some of you are just blatantly on the wrong side of history. I have to imagine in the time of slavery, I mean, that's why there was a civil war. Half the country saw pretty obviously that this is not okay. We should probably stop doing this. But yeah, I mean, the level of delusion amongst the mega cult 45 is just sad. It's comical when they try to tell us, like, no, you're the ones in a cult. Like, there is no evidence of that. If we were running Hillary Clinton right now, I would say, okay, maybe we're in a cult, but we're not. Even if we stuck by Biden and said, like, it's him or nobody, like, even that would be cult-like. But we've done the exact opposite of all of that.
Yes, it's as clear as day, dude. As I keep telling Rachel, for the few people in my life that I love that are in this, conservative area that are voting for Trump. I keep telling Rachel, like, it's bothering me. It's weighing on me as much as that I would like to be able to put them in rehab.
Right.
I would like to send them to a rehab, dude. I feel like it's a sickness.
Yep, for sure. I am sick of, this is now 3 elections in a row. We got to sweat over Trump. And that is just crazy. We don't ever do this in politics. When someone loses, they're done. So again, this is cult-like behavior to keep, bringing the man back like this. But I also started realizing, like, there are kids out there that this is all they know. Every election they have ever known is us against MAGA since 2016.
That's crazy to think about, dude. Never thought about it. You're right.
Yeah, and what does that do to their perspective on the world and politics and their faith in it? I mean, I am glad that it is inspiring a lot of them. My firstborn is a freshman in college. her whole little dorm was watching the debate, and they're all registered to vote. They are all fired up to get out there and fight back against this. So on one level, it's motivating kids maybe in a way that they never have been before. And I'm hoping that is why they show up. Because again, the women and the youth, you are the ones that can sway this election. So frickin' show up and put us on the right track. I'm disappointed in men because men are tilting Trump, but there is a caveat in there. Do you know which type of men are supporting Trump?
Moron men.
Yes, the non-college educated.
Right.
Men with education are, I think it's 55% in favor of Harris. The overwhelming majority that are going for Trump are the non-educated. And like, what does Trump always say? I love the poorly educated. And that is why. That was a Freudian thing that he said, because he is right. The lack of education is what makes you be a Trump supporter.
I love the poorly educated. We won the poorly educated. Like, that's the truth. He always says the quiet parts out loud.
Yeah. So show up, men with some level of education, and the young and the females. We can do this if we all unite together.
You keep talking about, or we keep talking about what an idiot Trump is, and you just made a great point that he's the kid in this scenario. This is a great example of like schoolyard bullies. He said this at his rally, and let me see if you understand it.
Kamala doesn't know she's alive. If you watched her being interviewed by Allison Cooper the other night, who's a nice person. Do you know Allison Cooper? CNN fake news. Oh, she said, no, his name's Anderson. Oh, no.
So, he's calling Anderson Allison Cooper because Anderson Cooper is gay. Yeah. And that's his new thing of like, woman Allison Cooper. Like, that is so schoolyard bully weird crap that it just, I don't get it.
And very homophobic. So again, this, gay Republicans for Trump or, kill Tony coming out and being pro-MAGA. Like, stop voting against your own self-interest, whether you're gay or poor or a minority or a woman. Like, what the hell? How ignorant are you people?
Yeah.
I had a MAGA person this past weekend arguing with me about what an apocalyptic hellhole San Francisco and Chicago are. And as you know, I was literally in Chicago having this argument with this kid. And it was just so, I tried to point out to him, like, I am in these cities. I see firsthand that they are nice cities. Every city's got their shady areas, no kidding. But you're being lied to. And you've never even been to these cities, or at least not in any, like the last 10 or 20 years. So I am telling you, from ground zero, you're being lied to. And the fact that you're regurgitating this crap back to me just shows what a sheep you are. Wake the fuck up.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add because that was 100% apropos, Steve.
Thank you.
Rachel was just in San Francisco on Friday. She came home. You know what she said to me? I want to move to San Francisco so bad, dude. I love that city. You were just in Chicago. Like, I kept joking with you. You haven't been shot at yet? You haven't? Did you have to show your ID to get any bread while you've been there? Like, no, you are being lied to, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. San Francisco is a great city. I had wanted to live there earlier in my life, and I do end up there a couple of times a year. It's a great city. But I'll tell you, Chicago is even cleaner and seems safer to me. I mean, I ran into maybe one homeless dude who was very polite, by the way. I was out walking around Saturday night at like 12:30, like after midnight. It was, Halloween weekend. Yeah, there was cops on patrol, but I mean, it was a fun, open, safe city. Everyone was having fun. I did not feel threatened or scared or anything like that.
Yeah. Isn't that insane? I mean, why I said you said it the best is because they are being lied to. I've seen it with my brother firsthand. He kept talking about Seattle and Portland. We went on a road trip recently, took him through Portland. What a beautiful city Portland is. And as you pointed out, any big city is going to have areas in it that has crime, more crime than the rest of the city. That's not something new. That's since the days of yore. Okay, God damn.
And it's not a coincidence that these are all Democratic cities, Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, Chicago. They're just trying to manipulate you. They're trying to other you. Oh, these scary Democratic cities that millions of people live in for some reason. I wonder why.
Yeah. Get out and vote, you guys. Seriously, please.
Need to know news. News you need to know. Steve Harness.
That's me. So I saw an interview. I think it was Elon Musk and Tucker Carlson, maybe a couple of weeks ago, where Elon was saying, "Boy, if Kamala wins, they're coming for me. They're coming for me," which was just straight up, obviously, fear mongering. No one's coming for you. Unless you break the law, which it does now appear that Elon Musk is doing, or if you open yourself up to defamation and slander lawsuits. So, first of all, Elon Musk has tried to resurrect this Dominion lawsuit thing, which I think is hilarious because Dominion will absolutely sue ass, and they got, $800 million or whatever out of Fox News. So, I'd be careful on that topic there, Elon, and Dominion is absolutely paying attention. But as of today, the district attorney in Philadelphia is actually suing Elon Musk over this sweepstakes of $1 million that he's doing. That's supposed to be at random, yet only seems to be going to MAGA supporters who have shown up at Trump rallies.
Oh, yes. I mean, come on. We knew it from the beginning, dude. Like, he's paying people for their vote, whether you win the million or not. Like, you're signing up for this. Like, he's getting you to vote in a very certain way, yes. And he's paying for it.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of talk about, does this violate election laws because you can't pay people to register to vote, and you certainly can't pay them to vote. But Philadelphia actually seems to be taking a slightly different approach to this, which I think is going to even be more ironclad because, us in the world of radio, we do a lot of contests. And you ever heard that phrase, like, no purchase necessary?
Yes.
Like, there's strict rules on contests that it has to be open to everyone, that you can't require a purchase of a product or something to be entered into this pool, and that everyone's eligible. So Philadelphia's district attorney asked a state judge on Monday to shut down tech billionaire Elon Musk's $1 million giveaway to registered voters, calling it an illegal lottery scheme. Not an illegal, voting fraud scheme. The lottery. They have rules in Philadelphia about this.
Dude, that is so freaking brilliant. Because, yes, there are those laws put into place, and to go at it from this angle is fantastic.
Yeah. So this DA says the America PAC, that's Musk's, little group there, are lulling Philadelphia citizens and others in the Commonwealth to give up their personally identifying information and to make a political pledge in exchange for the chance to win $1 million. That is a lottery, and it is indisputably an unlawful lottery. A judge scheduled a hearing for the matter later this week, meaning that Musk's sweepstakes can continue in the meantime, but he'd be racking up additional offenses if this does eventually go against him. In the lawsuit, the DA's office argues that Pennsylvania law requires all lotteries to be, quote, operated and administrated by the state, and that Musk's daily $1 million giveaway must be halted because it's operating outside of those legal structures. And again, the lottery has to be open to everyone, and it is only MAGA people winning this, and it's primarily everyone who's won it has somehow been someone who's been at a Trump rally. So it's not being run by the state. It's not open to everyone, and they're clearly skewing who wins it.
Yes, that is unbelievable. I love the way that they're going about that. When you and I were in radio, we had even rules behind the scene that you could get in trouble for, dude, that if you didn't like your list, you didn't like the person who won because they didn't show enough excitement. So you're like, I'll take the next one. Screw that person. Yeah. That was illegal, dude. There are laws in place, and that is brilliant.
So, the point as to whether it's actually violating election law, that could still actually be disputed because the Department of Justice a few days ago, the feds, warned Elon Musk that we're looking into this, and at first glance, it appears you're breaking the law. You should probably stop. He, of course, ignored that. And, the most recent winner was from Michigan or something. And so it's not all in Pennsylvania, but clearly a lot of it is. So, Pennsylvania is saying, like, you're running a lottery and you're breaking the law. It's just not a lottery. We're not even going to get into election stuff. So, I don't know. Elon Musk could end up in jail or at least getting millions, if not billions, in fines and settlements and everything else between Dominion and this. Clearly, the intention is to try to sway the election with his money thing that he's doing, you know.
How long will it take for the party that believes in law and order to come and say, like, oh, man, you guys are attacking your political opponents. You guys are using the DOJ to take people down. Like, I know what's going to happen with this, and they got to be careful if, it's just so many things to think about, dude.
Well, and like we pointed out earlier, they're hypocrites as far as they love the Second Amendment, but they hate the First Amendment when people use it against them. And part of this pledge that Musk is making people sign is in support of the First and Second Amendments. Yet they're supporting a candidate who is trying to dismantle the First Amendment. So, as always, you're all a bunch of flaming fucking hypocrites, and we have got to defeat them. So, again, keep the flame burning, everybody. Keep things motivated. These undecided voters are driving me nuts, but they're out there, and they're going to pick someone on Election Day. They're either not going to vote or they're going to pick somebody. And I did see a follow-up this morning on NBC. They had 3 undecided voters a month or 2 back, and they followed up with them. And I'm proud to say 2 out of the 3 said they're leaning Kamala, and the third dude just said, I'm not even voting. So some of those undecideds, they could be blue votes. So keep it up.
That is just mind-blowing to me that a month later, you're still undecided. Like, I don't understand who you undecideds are at this point. This seems so black and white to me that it's just astonishing. But you're right. They're out there. So be on the right side of history, as Steve pointed out earlier, because karma has everyone's address, dude. I'll tell you that.
Oh, hey, I like that. Put that on a t-shirt. So that's good. But, well, here's the deal, everyone. We've got a bunch of social media stuff on all of these topics, from the crazy things MAGA's doing to encouraging women and youth to vote. So find it, share it, comment it, keep this fire stoked through next week. And then we're going to hope the guardrails hold, because at that point, it's out of our hands at that point. You and me, average Joe citizen, you know?
Yes, for sure. So keep talking to people. Talk to your family even, dude. I mean, talk to the people that you love and care about, and make sure that your vote has been counted, because ballot boxes are burning, and make sure you vote, dum-dum.
Yeah, find our website, thevocalminority.net. We got the comment line, 844-48-VOCAL, and social medias, Reddit, YouTube, and TikTok are the faves.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. We'll do another one. Until then.
Hi, everybody. It's Elon Musk. You're listening to The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve. These guys are great. I'm not used to saying something is great with minority in the title. Felt weird, but I'm going with it for these boys. Nick and Steve, 2 new podcasts a week.
Thank you, former illegal immigrant Elon Musk.
Leon Musk.
Leon Musk.